What you gonna do, Rhea? What you gonna do? Five years in, and nothing new. You haven't learned anything new. You haven't figured anything out. You haven't been surprised. It's pretty much as it's been. Pretty much exactly as it's been, what it's been. And although you are not where you thought you'd be, in some sense, you're also exactly where you thought you'd be. Still and always, but had been in full acceptance since the beginning that whatever you had to contend with and whatever the future held, you knew that you'd be working at a deficit, and a particular kind of deficit. And you are. So what are you gonna do? How deep are you gonna go? Still the no plan, huh? Well, you've made it this far. Didn't think you would. Not really sure why you have, but you have. And what now? Tricky, tricky. Been tricky. Been tricky. But trickier now. And you know this, man. well, I'll give you credit for something no one could possibly give you credit for various reasons, but albeit the respites you've gotten, it's pretty much been the same thing since 2016. And you know what I mean. Just who and what did you piss off? Because it's a lot of motherfucking energy for just little old motherfucking you ain't shit you. Lot. Still can't make sense of it. But when I feel into it, same as it's been for a long time, it's like I'm aware that there's something that I can't see that is an element of this that's beyond, like, to say what I know is not the right way of putting it, but it's like I can't recognize it or sense what it is because it's something that legitimately has not been in existence for me as a known, quantifiable, real thing. But there's definitely some element to this that is more than just what I've thought surrounding, all of it. And the irony is all the crazy shit you talked about, there are elements of a little bit of each of it. Watching back some of the moments, man, talk about, I was really out there, like really out there. And typically, the way I went about shit should have been sufficient around cultivating safety for me to express and be in those places without there being some kind of consequence or impact on anyone else. The whole motherfucking point of the private fucking videos stays the fuck away from any other human beings. That's legitimately the fucking point. It's supposed to ensure that I can still have my experience without having it used against me and without even potentially offending, harming, annoying, or upsetting anyone. That's not how it's gone. So, wrenching the plans, and still think it's bullshit and I'm pissed about it, but nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. I am oscillating back and forth. Luckily, not between worlds anymore, thank God. Ever so slightly, but not like it was. Like, holy shit. Nothing like it was. Who's to say, like, a frequency or an emotion or a thought form isn't, in a way, its own reality? So, I don't want to get all, into the technical shenanigans and lost in the rhetoric and stuff, but nothing like the struggle with my mind it had been for so fucking long. But, the thing I oscillate back and forth between mostly has to do with pretty much the only thing that really matters to me, which is the husband. I never change. Like, how I feel never changes. Even if I'm standing on a completely polar opposite side of the fucking spectrum, that remains a constant. But the back and forth of who is he and what side is he really on and what has he consciously chosen to bring about. There's just, it's the most bizarre fucking experience because I don't doubt him at all. Like, in any regard, for the most part, like, across the board. Except I totally fucking question him in this space where shit just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, none. And I have to own that when I encounter shit that just is so incongruent and misaligned, then what I do with that is on me. And I can either push it out of my mind, choose the one I want, and essentially lie to myself. And, you know, I've made good with consciously choosing to buy into certain lies because I actually got an education around the necessity and value of lies. Sometimes they have their fucking place. But big picture and just that which informs my every little day in existence, it's hard when, like, for real, I'm baffled by a lot of shit that is so like undeniably out of alignment with all the other things I consider and call true. And I don't really know what to do with that. I've tried to approach the husband in different ways to address it without there being any confrontation, but I've been unsuccessful and not getting any relief, and I torment myself by even fucking questioning anything about him. But what kind of love or respect is that, you know? Like, is that what I would want from my partner? Fuck no. Fuck no. If you can't challenge me or question me or... Come on, Bit. Come on. Yeah. Like, that's totally opposite from what I want. But I don't know, man. I don't know. So anyways, it's dark in here. Not because I'm just swirling the drain and, you know, obsessed with pessimism and shit. It's dark in here because I'm so, like, not in the place where I used to, where I'm, like, resisting James and loving him and all of that shit. Nope. Thank God I'm not there anymore. And I get the approach of, you know, we don't need to hash everything out. We have the rest of our lives. Stuff like that. Smart. But then I worry. I worry that if taken too far, you know, it can be the same thing as just not dealing with reality. Sweeping shit under the rug, acting as if, you know. Because, for real, outside of the usual things that, you know, or the things that have hurt me that I've carried around for a while, you know, I think I've done a pretty good job not making issue of it and yada, 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 yada. But man, there's just some shit that is never going to fucking go away. And really confronts, like, damn near everything surrounding what James and I say our relationship is supposed to be. And I don't think it's unreasonable, you know. I think it's ridiculous when people constantly talk about, like, oh, the past, it's the past, it's the past. And it's like, why do we even have a thing called history? Like, what's the relevance of that? Why do you go to work and have, like, quarterly reviews? What's the point of that? Looking back at the behavior and patterns and past, you know? It's so silly, but okay, side note, I'm trying to work on one of my fucking bad habits and trauma responses. Red flag number 17, which is, let's see here. I even printed it out so I didn't fucking forget and I can work on it. Red flag number 17. You find yourself explaining the basic elements of human respect to a full-grown man or woman. Normal people understand fundamental concepts of honesty and kindness. No adult should need to be told how they are making other people feel. Man, is it so fucking ingrained in me. I feel like half of the things I say are overly, like, saturated with unnecessary basic fucking explanations that shouldn't be necessary. And yet, here we are. So, this is a pretty big project of trying to just grab a portion of the videos that I have left. And it's like blowing myself up every other minute, basically, consistently. Again, I think I'm doing a damn good job sitting through and bearing witness to the wreckage. Yep. And confronting what I've seen as to be expected. And yeah, I also can say that the little space I've gotten from being highly charged by just seeing an experience and feeling it through me, the little space I've gotten, call it growth or whatever, has definitely given me a different perspective, ever so slightly. And can confidently say that I don't see what the fuck other people see or saw. And I don't get how across the board so many people claiming to be close to me did not see all the blatantly obvious things. And I'm not interested in going into like judgment about that or taking up shit in arms or defending or whatever. It's just like not a question. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's so basic. It's so remedial. It's fucking tragic. And, you know, those are the things that make my mind also continue to jump back into, you know, thinking about some pretty fucking dark shit. Because at some point, it's just so in your face and so absurd that the only way for it to be missed and so consistently misrepresented and unaddressed is if it's intentional. Like, there is no other fucking way around it. Even a person who is fucking blind, like, could catch any number of things that seem to go right over people's heads. Now, cool, so I got a little tiny piece of just, I don't know if you'd call it resolution, but the hooks and the astronomical pain around the neglect and hysterical blindness of things that I've expressed and gone through and shared over these years. Like, they can unhook, and each person can take their hook back and fuck right on off. Not have it anchored in my fucking guts and my emotional body and supercharged electrocuting myself with additional fucking pain of the shock of not getting how they can't see, don't see, can't feel, missed, you know, like, and trying to sort out if it's intentional and thus malicious, or if it's just a handicap or disability they don't know that they fucking have. Makes no difference. Like, I'm not interested in any of them. I'm not interested in knowing why, or feeling into, or waiting around for, or forgiving, or excusing, or understanding. Like, no. Because unfortunately, all of this has forced me to have to kind of like really feel those slight shifts when I dissociate and I'm outside of myself. Like, a part of me is forward and experiencing other aspects of me or the entirety of me in a moment or whatever, and I've had to be the thing that I needed for myself out of necessity, and oftentimes as a countermeasure to what my so-called loved ones showed up as. And that's interesting too. Because for blind, ignorant people who have gotten so much unbelievably simple, fundamental shit wrong, they sure do all seem to manage to have an excellent ability to give you precisely the thing you don't want, don't need, didn't ask for, is not the medicine or what the doctor ordered. Like easy as breathing, like no thing. So they're clearly in tune to something. They're clearly aware and responding to something. And how long? And I'm going to make excuses for grown-ups. Definitely got myself into quite a pickle. Been in a pickle for a long time. And never lied to myself about that fact. Or anyone else, for that matter. You know, it's not even because I'm all noble and about the truth and shit, and the truth reigns supreme. It's just ultimately the decision I made, which had high consequences, because anything different just seemed too fucking exhausting, and I didn't have the fucking bandwidth. Period. So essentially I had to use a weakness and try to use it to my advantage. Or not advantage, but just I had to use what I had. And I didn't have much. So there's no extra whatever the fuck laying around so that I could put on a fucking, generate some bullshit lie and facade and all that. Like literally the idea of it, even as I'm saying it, actually makes my like brain fucking hurt and go extra tired. Like, no. Plus, I've always known I'm a terrible fucking liar, so it would just be like a waste of energy that I would just fucking leak unnecessarily for fucking what? For what? For what? For what? Yeah, no. So, bouncing back and forth with something that I fucking have been confronted by for a long time. And it's so funny because I know better than to try to like project myself into some future timeline where I understand and I can like see what the fuck this all is and means and is going. But part of the energy that I'm dealing with doesn't operate like that. And I've known this for a long time. And yet I still can't stop myself from like, it's like an automatic fucking response. And it makes no difference. I can't see. I'm not supposed to see. And I'm fucking stumped. Like, the biggest thing currently is like, I really don't understand why the fuck I'm here right now and my life looks like this. Like, I don't really understand that at all whatsoever. When I lay it next to all the other shit that just is beyond suspect and concerning. This doesn't make sense, except for like in one way it does make sense, but that literally is frightening if I factor that in, because unfortunately that means that part of the thing I can't see is, you know, even if it was revealed to me, like, I might be too scared to look at it, because some truths are that fucking ugly. Like they say, staring into the face of God, we would probably die of fright, not able to contain or comprehend. You know, and again, it's a different kind of exhausting when, you know that you're playing against, like, it's like the house always wins, or you know the odds are stacked, and it's all just kind of like a con job, right? So partially you go along with the motions as if all that shit in the background isn't happening and doesn't exist, which makes essentially like every single thing, some element of it, inauthentic. But you still, you know, show up for dress rehearsal, go about your business. So anyways, back to the videos. A lot of shit, obviously. And this is just the fucking remnants. Like, just the simple fact that I consistently was rolling with like 3 to 4 phones at any given time, filled, you know, like stacked with shit and data and stuff, is like, can you imagine? Broken record over here, but like the fact that I don't even have one entire phone bit, stop it, is loco. It's crazy. So there's a million things I could be doing while I'm downloading, but you know, I'm trying to document while downloading, so I'm creating more content technically, but it's not, I mean, has it been content I've wanted to make? Like, when was the last time I made something I wanted to make? Probably when I was living in Oregon, and I made that montage of me and Dav, and then the poem montage. Those are probably the last things and only things I've made in 10 years surrounding this type of shit that I wanted to make. That felt like something a little bit truer to what I would be creating if I was creating from the space I wanted to, rather than hemmed up and bound by this bullshit. It's really easy for people to say to me, just shut it down, let it go, you know? And it's like a crazy ass statement to make to me. Yeah, technically I know how simple that is, but I'm gonna stop whispering, singing lullabies and yelling at people that, you know, there's a very high probability that somebody has access to who the fuck knows, you know, how much or what of my content they have. And that's unsettling. And I've already had my fill of tiny, insignificant bullshit turned nuclear fucking weapon of bullshit turned against me. I can only imagine, like, what can be done with any number of this shit. Not much is really even needed, honestly. But to break up the monotony of just downloading and documenting, like, here's a weird thing, here's another weird thing, here's another weird thing, here's something else missing, you know. I'm working on a video about MK, which is hilarious. Didn't see that coming. It's not really about MK though. It's about me and how MK is used in my life. And so yesterday I recorded a 5-hour video, and that's just me skimming the surface. And it's wild how much shit, like, just staying focused on the MK topic, it feels like I can't really do it justice because of how much shit I have to omit that I feel like is actually relevant, like the stuff leading up and around it and yada 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 yada. But like, ain't nobody got time for that. Like I said, just like referencing the most basic blueprint of my relationship and experience with MK and how it differs completely and utterly from anything that the world around me reflects back to me around the nature of who MK is and who he's been to me, and all that shit is fucking staggering and feels like a mind fuck. And again, I try really hard, despite it all, to give stuff and things and people the benefit of the fucking doubt and not go to, you know, these people are intentionally trying to fuck with my head. You know, it's difficult not to, because some of it is so fucking obscene and outrageous. Like, James said something to me the other day. We were referencing, like, when I cut myself, when we had gotten into a little tussle, and I took scissors to my leg, and then I said that the injury happened while we were scuffling. Like, I didn't say he did it, I said we did it. And, you know, I came clean about that, and sometimes I almost fucking regret it because of how it's been received, basically. Like, that's actually supposed to reflect something not necessarily positive, but not supposed to stay a negative, because I could have just kept my fucking mouth shut. What difference would it have made? Lived and died with you and me. Who gives a fuck? Like, who cares? But he said, I just, you know, I couldn't believe that you were able to, like, lie to my face like that. You know? Just boldly lie to my face. And it's crazy because I know exactly what he means, you know? exactly. So he's not alone in that experience, but again, we're very different people while having a lot in common, and the fact that that's how he's still carrying it, like, and misses those seemingly significant things, like, I didn't say you did it, I said we did it, like, it happened by, my story was, it was smashed in the fucking doorway, sliding glass door thing, you know, like, not you fucking did this to me, but we did this, and whatever, albeit we do dumb shit in the heat of the moment, and I didn't have the fucking courage or the ability to get across something that he knows and I know, that I just wanted to, like, make really clear, like, I am capable of being wounded, you know, and I didn't mean physically, because he restrained himself with me physically, and I don't think about that. Even when shit gets physical, I never think he's actually exerting even a fucking ounce of like, violence intentionally. Even when it's physical and it is violent, like, I know the difference. So what I had been trying to say all those years was, I'm fucking human and you can hurt me, and I'm fucking hurt deeply, and you don't see the blood and the bleeding and the wounds, you know? And I'm sick and tired of that shit. So, like, see the fucking blood and the fact that I can be hurt, and remember that we can hurt us, and then maybe you can remember that you can hurt me, and you do hurt me. And we couldn't even have that fucking conversation, and that couldn't even be a thing that was real. And still feels like sometimes, you know, that's something that I can't say, because it's like, somehow it's interpreted that it's like a slap in the face to all of the beauty and the good things and the generosity and shit that I should be grateful for. But the two things are not exclusive. I can be grateful and also be hurt by shit. People can be generous and well-intended and still fuck your shit up and take a knife to your fucking liver, you know? And then, you know, while walking you into your dream home and your dream job and, you know, giving you the entire fucking world. Both things can fucking be true. But it's like those two things weren't allowed to be true. And I remember the just frustration around, like, what I experienced was an utter inability and refusal to even consider something as novel as Natalie and James could actually hurt me. And he used to get so upset, you know, like, how fucking dare I? And this typically is when I'm being required to fucking apologize, which is always a setup, because James and Nat were the ultimate deciders of my level of sincerity, you know. Fuck how much I had to fucking swallow and step over in order to even fucking give that apology. What I had to step over and swallow was typically all of my fucking pain, hurt feelings, disrespect, neglect, outrage, all the things that, you know, typically would also seek or want or desire a fucking acknowledgement or apology. And have I ever once fucking asked for an apology or even stated something that required an apology? Fuck no, I haven't. Fuck no. And that is a place in where we were very different. Part of me was like, yo, if you don't feel like you have shit to apologize for, then don't want you to apologize, because it probably wouldn't be sincere, you know? Acknowledgements go a fucking long way, as you know. And yeah, sure, I'll humble myself, I'll bend a knee, and I'll apologize and take responsibility. I may do it begrudgingly because the whole I exist too thing might have it that I'm quite pissed off, hurt, and fucking shocked by some of your shit too. And the double standard. But I'll do it because fuck it. You need it. You require it. You demand it. And I'll do it knowing that you're going to fucking tear me apart and throw it away and dismiss it anyways. So what incentive do I fucking have? Can't seem to distinguish the difference between pissed off and insincere and like fucking speaking through hurt. And that shit's hard. But no credit for that. Just, well, no one needs a solicited apology. It's insincere anyways. Like, when and where was the anointing that happened that, like, they were fucking experts on my every fucking thing? My tone, my meaning, my intention, my feelings, my fucking everything. Like, don't know. But even though I fucking went along with it and ate shit, still weren't fucking happy. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. Anyways, James and that shit is up, that's for sure. And it's no surprise. I only stuffed that shit for so fucking long. And then bubbles to the surface and too tired to fucking push that shit down. Like, I'm holding enough crap anyways. So, what? Again, But super discouraging and kind of heartbreaking to get in an argument, essentially, which feels like, if we're not talking about the details of the argument, at the core of it, what it really feels like is that familiar place where James is unquestionably 1,000% united with Natalie and in defense of her, to the degree that he is incapable and refuses to see me, if any part of it, like, doesn't hold up Natalie in the most, like, pristine, supported, backed up way. And if that wasn't enough, the fucking insult and injury added by saying ridiculous and stupid things like MK and Natalie are the same because you're still talking to somebody that you fucked. How do you say that sentence with your excuse around your relationship with Natalie and everything it has entailed this entire time is that you're not sleeping with her anymore, which technically means we're talking about the same fundamental issue, right? Your issue with me, which I was unaware of, given how, like, fluid and open we are sexually, very confusing, is that I'm talking to somebody that I've slept with before. Well, so are you. You're not sleeping with her anymore, but you were sleeping with her, so why is it different for you? And please, with that big old brain, just like you couldn't believe I said some shit to your face, like, sometimes it's not even the lies. It's just the straight up idiotic, dumb shit that I can't even, like, process could ever come out of your fucking mouth. Because there's no confusion that, like, you don't understand what you're talking about or you got it wrong because, like, you have momentary, retardation or whatever. Nope. Not possible. Not possible. So what does that leave? That leaves a different kind of shock, which the thought bubble pops in and is like, this motherfucker intentionally is saying that dumb shit. And what's the fucking point of it other than to upset and activate shit? Because it's 100% fraudulent and fucking retarded. And no defense is necessary. MK and Natalie are the same things. Give me a motherfucking break. In what fucking world? Are you kidding me? Let me not even like humiliate myself by fucking trying to contend or like navigate us through this so I can fucking understand. Cause you're fucking with me. You have to be. And so I'm not a fucking fan. Not a fan. Yeah, right. Flip this on its head and put MK in the position of Natalie and run that shit. Yeah, right. Are you kidding me? There's 2 billion places, moments, expressions, actions, inactions that would have that shit be shut down instantly. Minor offenses. Like fucking heart emojis. Like, how about all the fucking fucked up shit y'all said about me to each other? And all the constant reinforcement of each other and love and importance and blah, 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 while fucking demeaning me. You know? Yep. But that's the thing. I can't even imagine that shit. You know why? 'Cause I would never. And I've done a lot of crazy shit, like have 2 boyfriends at the same time, you know, and wanting them to like talk to each other. That's crazy. I look back at that and I'm like, that was a little extra, Rhea, you know. They were already like letting you date, you know, someone else besides them. They don't really need to be texting each other. That's just, you've gone too far. But imagine putting one in the fucking dominant power role and making the other one's bitch. Like straight up in every way. Beneath, whether it's like you work for this person, you uphold this person, you give this person things that I will not give you and they will not give you. I treat you guys drastically different. I encourage, allow, support, and reinforce their mistreatment of you. And, like, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Nah, I would never. How humiliating, dude. How degrading. How disrespectful. Like, how crazy. And all the while requiring the person who's been made the bitch to stay in a pristine bubble of excessive gratitude for the generosity of the person with their foot on their neck. Or else. Like, and you repay that with what? All the kind words to one another behind their back, despite performance, gratitude, expression, care, blah, 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 blah. How do you pay them back around, how about just their own relationships? Do you hold them up in a decent light? Are you the steadfast reminder when others forget of the value and beauty of this person or how to love them. No. No. The opposite. The opposite. Do you honor and respect their basic requests for safety and boundaries? No. Do you give them what you require of them? No. And it is mind blowing. Mind blowing. It's got to be one way or the other. No black and white thinking anywhere but here. We can't be like assholes to you and people that are great to you and saved your life too. Can't be that way. It's got to be either or. In what world? In what world? Don't you remind me constantly that despite my best intentions surrounding the love I had for the people in my life and those closest to me, that I'm totally unaware of how much I've hurt them, completely and utterly oblivious to it, in a way that you aren't and she isn't? Like, without looking and researching, what's Zach's middle name and spell his last name off the cuff right now, because you know so much. And what was the thing that hurt Zach the most out of everything we experienced? Huh? And now what's the one thing, one major thing I missed and am oblivious to surrounding how I hurt and wounded him? Since you so confidently and with such authority know, and then spread that out like a cancer to my entire life. And since I'm human, and I've got to consider that you might be right to a degree, somehow you two sit in a seat completely removed from that, to where it's insulting and offensive to even consider that I could be hurt by either of you, let alone the two of you. And that wouldn't lend itself to you being completely and utterly unaware to the degree in which you hurt me, since you aren't capable of hurting me, since all you are is good to me. Because that's the thing that exists in the human experience. Just perfection across a timeline without a single mistake. Right? Okay. And if I don't subscribe to that, what will be the actions or inactions you take and the impact it has on me? And even when you do apologize with great detail, speaking to all of the things that exist inside of instantly hurt me. You put the amnesia on again and can't fathom. I'm supposed to buy, and I was required to buy this anyways, that independently, with the big brains and competence of y'all individually, and then what you are collectively, that once it became something you were aware of, and you knew that you had unintentionally blinded yourself and you just couldn't see it. So now you know you can be blind to things. And it could be something that even creates nightmares for a person. Pinpointing and creating and activating their deepest and biggest fears and wounds. Accidentally. You don't move forward thinking, oh shit, well, I did it once before. Is it possible I could be capable of doing it again? Well, especially not if I keep telling myself the same story that, well, since I was good intentioned and was saving your life, I don't need to be checked. But holy shit, I just said out loud to you and the other human co-creating this experience that it was me who created this, like, perfect little nightmare for you. And I'm so perceptive and aware now that I see it. I've detailed it down to, like, its basic functioning and how it operates, because I can see it. But I don't know what you're talking about, Rhea. Never happened, you made it up. I know. Prolific that way. Now, if only, that can be another thing. Either of you, well-intended, saving my life people could remember. Baseline, step 1, request. If you could eradicate that fucking sentence from your vocabulary, not use it, that would be great. There's 5,000 other ways you could fucking say it, or what you mean by that. But specifically, could you fucking not say that? Like, don't call me a nigger if you would be so willing. And if you can do that, then could you fucking not say you made that up specifically? Because that's mom shit and big time gaslighting, which you cop to. So just illuminating what you already fucking shed light on that had long since existed for me, but I was ignored, disregarded, and, punished. So I shut the fuck up and waited, for y'all to see it. But if you can't do that, which it seems like you can't, just like you can't honor the request of just giving me a heads up if you're going to show up unannounced, especially when you're enforcing the silent treatment, because my PTSD, I really don't fucking like it at all. I don't have a good response to it, even now. That and one more thing, and this is all I've asked for, which is don't fucking talk to people in my life about me. The relationships I had don't feel safe, and it's not your fucking place. So please, don't go behind my fucking back and talk to people you don't fucking know about me. No? So we're batting 0 out of 3, 5 years in. And you want what from me? I'm not doing what good enough for you. Well, how about I try to like switch it up a bit? How about every time you say you made that up, you call me a nigger? Because it would be more polite and less painful. Seriously. Don't act like you've never said it or thought it or felt it before. Come on. So, that's my request. If you're gonna say it, just add that cherry, you know? So the fuck does it matter to me? The way I think of a nigger doesn't really have anything to do with race. It's more of a state of mind, and I've encountered white people that have inspired me to want to call them niggers. But that's just how I hold it, you know? Yeah. And let's see. I guess what I can do in order to feel safe in my relationships, to make sure that like there's no interference, since I can't trust that you who love me and did all this to save my life can't for the fucking life of you model by example anything positive for said friends and family to, yeah, like follow. You can't enroll them, show them how, or just not fucking talk shit about me to people you don't fucking know. Since you can't do that, well, I guess I'll just like not have relationships with people, because it hurts me and it's excruciating and it fucks a lot of shit up. A lot. And I have a part-time, sometimes full-time job in buying the bullshit where I make excuses for either of you, like you don't know exactly what the fuck you're saying or doing, or the impact or ramifications of that on any human being. Like basic bitch golden rule type of shit. Where in your life am I doing that? And when did you get so comfortable, like walking through, owning and impacting and influencing my relationships, what people know about me, how they see me? Like, when did that happen? I guess it wasn't obvious and I didn't use enough words or whatever. You didn't get that I had PTSD, and it was primarily around relationships, right? And the unsafety of those things. And I never saw one single nice, encouraging reminder or sentence in any direction to anyone I would consider my friend or family, on the basis that, like, you didn't know them any way other than by their relationship with me. So, weird. Also, why is so much of what the fuck was shared with these people shit that was opposite to what you said to me? You know, there are times where I felt like I was in a really toxic relationship where, you know, someone straight up like two-faced and to your face they're presenting one fucking image, and you're shocked when you encounter hearing something completely and totally different than anything shared with you. And you thought you were close. Why are you hearing this from your best friend you haven't heard from in 4 years? Imagine if James or Natalie, either of you, expressed anything like distrust or unsafety or a warning applied to somebody in your life, acquaintance, friend, family member, and it went over your head and behind your back, directly in opposition to that warning, that expression, and I stuck my fucking fingers all up in it and fed negative narratives and issues and all that, and even went so far as to like speak to these people like I knew them as well as you did. Maybe even like had their fucking back regarding like some of your bad behavior. Or you started sharing secrets, you know, that you definitely didn't want these people to know. And when you found out and you expressed your fucking dissatisfaction, shock, and fucking hurt around it, I didn't give a fuck and did what I wanted anyways, and continue to in every direction. Weird. And then validated everyone else's experience and gave it validity and truth while disregarding mine completely. Nope. Not hurtful. Yep, totally safe. Yep, totally respectful. Totally loving. Totally in alignment with mentors and loved ones that have your best interests at heart. Obviously. So, well, if it's so bad and I've got so many issues, why the fuck did I stay around? It's complicated. Obviously. And maybe if things didn't continue rolling around some retarded cycle with the same result, maybe things would have gone some other way. But another thing y'all were incapable of giving me was any kind of decency or respect around, like, preparing to move out, talking about moving out like a proper human being. Everyone, even fucking squatters, are allowed to do. And then acting like your withholding of shit, whether it's paycheck, property, clothing, whatever, doesn't impact the move or how difficult things are. Right? Again, both of you united, showing me that you'll do things to me that you won't do to anybody, even a fucking stranger, even fucking Jean, who wasn't paying rent, not even her. So, how else is a person supposed to interpret that? Love me so much that, gets confusing. Gets confusing. And I don't want to fight, and I didn't want to lose you, and I wanted to stay in the love bubble, and all that shit. So, that's how. Plus, like I said from the beginning, there's a part of each of you that scares the holy fuck out of me. So, a part of me is always tempered because I literally don't know what the fuck either of you was capable of, truly. And at those phases,